following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Come on. I see no changes. Wake up in the morning and I ask myself, is life worth living? Should I blast myself? I'm tired of being poor and even worse, I'm black. My stomach hurts, so I'm looking for a purse to snatch. Cops give a damn about a Negro. Pull a trigger, killing, he's a hero. Get it to the kids who the hell cares. One less hungry mouth on the welfare. First ship them, don't let them deal with brothers. Give them guns, step back, watch them kill each other. It's time to fight back, that's what Huey said. 2 shots in the dark, now Huey's dead. I got love for my brothers, but we can never go nowhere unless we share with each other. We gotta start making changes. Learn to see me as a brother instead of 2 distant strangers. And that's how it's supposed to be. How can the devil take a brother if he's close to me? I let it go back to when we played as kids, but then changed. That's the way it is. Come on.
That's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. That's just the way it is. Oh yeah. That's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. Oh yeah. That's just the way it is. Oh yeah.
I see no changes, all I see is racist faces. Misplaced hate makes disgrace to races. We under, I wonder what it takes to make this one better place. Let's erase the wasted. Take the evil out the people, they'll be acting right. Cause both black and white and smoke tonight. And the only time we chill is when we kill each other. It takes skill to be real time to heal each other. And although it seems evident, we ain't ready to see a black president. It ain't a secret, don't conceal the fact. The penitentiary's packed and it's filled with blacks. But some things will never change. Try to show another way, but it's staying in the dope game. Now tell me what's a mother to do. Being real don't appeal to the brother in you. You gotta operate the easy way.
I made a G today.
But you made it in a sleazy way. Sell it back to the kids.
I gotta get paid.
Well, hey, well, that's the way it is.
That's the way it is.
Come on.
That's
the way it is. But it don't have to stay that way, y'all. Welcome to Areva Martin in real time. I'm your special guest host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in to us here on KBLA Talk 1580. So excited to be back in the chair. Very humbled to be back in the chair once again as we close out the week. And what a week it has been. And it is expected that more things will be taking place over the weekend. And there will be a lot of changes. And there's going to be some movement, and there's going to be some stuff happening, and it's going to get down to a lot. It's going to get down to a lot. But I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in real time with us today here on KBLA Talk 1580. Let me just first say, before we get into all of the details and all of the trending news and everything, first we invite you to join us on our social media platforms. We are streaming on our YouTube channel for KBLA 1580 for Areva Martin in real time. You can check us out there on YouTube. We're also, of course, on social media. You can check this out at KBLA 1580 on Instagram, on the X platform, on Facebook. And, of course, when you go to our website at KBLA1580.com, you can see all of the programming that we have here on the show. You can listen live from our website at KBLA1580.com. And more importantly, just follow all of the great voices and the personalities and of those who come before this mic to impart any type of knowledge, wisdom, some guidance, anything to help you get through the day, and more importantly, to help you think critically about the world and yourself in the process. So we're trying to continue to do our part. We are in our 3rd year our third year of existence here at KBLA Talk 1580. And so we are always looking to improve, always looking to step up, always looking to exemplify Black excellence in a very, very unapologetic, progressive way. And I am very, very happy that we are going down the path that we're going, and more importantly, making the strides that we are making. So again, check us all out online at KBLA 1580 on our website, on our social media. You can follow me, yours truly, at Farajii, the real Farajii. On Instagram. I would love to connect with each and every one of you, so make sure y'all check me out there. You can follow me on the X platform at Farajii, Farajii. And of course, you can follow my sister Areva Martin on all social media platforms. She would love to connect with you as well. So we just got a lot of opportunities for us to stay connected and tuned in. Now, let's talk about what we're going to discuss. In a few moments, I am very, very excited to be joined by my sister, who serves as the associate professor in the School of Public Policy at the University of Maryland. Dr. Niambi Carter will be joining us in a few moments, calling in and being a part of the conversation. We're going to have a very, very, I think, a very spirited, timely conversation about some of the latest things that have been happening in the Democratic intra-party rift. I think that's the best way we can describe it. Or some people might call it the Democrat-Biden dilemma, the Biden replacement dilemma. We're going to continue to bring you up to speed on the latest chapters with that. Also, we may get to some discussion about the RNC. And in the midst of all of this, there's the Kamala Harris factor. The Kamala Harris factor. And we're going to get some analysis from Dr. Niambi Carter on what she thinks about that part of the discussion. So we'll have that in the first hour. The second hour, we're going to check in with journalist and contributing columnist for Fox News, Mr. Richard Fowler. He's going to talk to us a little bit about what's going on. The NAACP National Convention has been happening this week along with the RNC convention. So we're going to talk to Mr. Fowler about that. And we're also going to be checking in with some other great voices in the second half. So we certainly have a lot to talk about, and I'm very, very excited to have these conversations with you folks as we do have, as we bring you up to speed. Now, let me just start here. Let me just start here because there have been so much happening. Now, we all, if you have been tuning in, whether it's from my sister Dominique DePrima, her show First Thing First in the morning, followed up by our big brother and founder, Brother Tavis Smiley Show with the Tavis Smiley Show all throughout the day. But particularly in those two shows, we have been doing our best to keep you up to date with breaking news and some of the latest developments in this story about the status of the President Joe Biden, and what decision he is planning to make as it relates to his presidential campaign. And I'm sure many of you have been talking about this on social media. I'm sure you've been listening to the news, whether it's some of the 24-hour news shows and whatnot, networks. And you know that this is a very, very interesting and historic moment, to say the least. Sometimes people say unprecedented. We kind of overuse that word. But I will say at least a historic moment in the fact that we're only, I think, a little bit over 100 days from the national election in November. Just a little bit over 100 days. I think it comes down to about 110, 115 days or so. And we are in this place where the incumbent, in this case, President Joe Biden, the incumbent, finds himself in a dilemma where his own party is imploding. There's a lot of bedwetting, as they've been saying, and it's been imploding on whether he should stay at the top of the ticket. Just a lot of conversation about this. And so with the president saying, and my big brother Tavis said this, we often hear the same refrain where people have said, when they get into political hot water, that they're not going to go, they're not going to go, they're not going to go. I ain't going, I ain't going, I ain't going. The next thing you know, boom, they gone. I always think it's funny when he said it. But it's so true that, you know, we see the president who is digging his heels in and is saying, look, I have my mental acuity is top notch. I'm ready and I'm able to do this job. He's been saying, look, I'm getting older, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm the one that can beat Donald Trump. I have beaten Donald Trump. But you're not at your top form, though, Mr. President, with all due respect. You're not at the top form. And with this now, Trump he's going to be speaking tonight at the final day for the Republican National Convention. Last night, J.D. Vance, the vice presidential nominee, has officially accepted the nomination. So we are looking at what we like to call an ultra MAGA ticket with Donald Trump and J.D. Vance on one side, and now you have President Biden with Vice President Harris on the other side. At this particular moment, it could change because of the intra-party infighting. And so we're at this very historic moment. And in the midst of all of this this tussling, and in the midst of all of this uncertainty, one thing, and this has been a constant refrain for us here at KBLA Talk 1580, where does Black America situate? Where do we situate ourselves in this dilemma? Where do we go? Now, yesterday when we had the conversation, if you remember, folks, I spoke to Mr. Jared Hill, who is the former president of the National Association of Black Journalists here in Los Angeles. He talked about always kind of having a frame of mind, having a context. Well, what is the context? We went into that part of the conversation yesterday. But looking at things, at the end of the day, the situation that we find ourselves in as Black folks in this country, we have to be very clear about where we are and where we're trying to go in the midst of all of this chaos, confusion, bedwetting, uncertainty, MAGA is coming, and all of this talk. How do we move in this particular moment? So we want to get into a little bit of that. I'm going to share with you, we're going to take a quick pause. When we come forward, I'm going to share with you what some Black women leaders and allies are saying as we are in this space at this time. There was a major letter that was released where 1,400 Black women, I want y'all to hear me on this now, 1,400 Black women signed a letter to show their support for President Biden, Vice President Harris, and making the point, don't change course, keep going. And I'm so happy that I'm going to be joined by my sister, Dr. Niambi Carter, who is one who is proficient and is an expert in the space of racial and racial politics, right? Looking at this and getting her analysis about this situation. So we're going to have the conversation. I want y'all to get yourselves ready. Stay tuned in. We got a lot to talk about. You're tuned into Areva Martin. We're just getting started here on Real Time here on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's the real deal in real time. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. Just a few short months ago, California Attorney General Rob Bonta filed 11 felony charges against Diana Turan, an assistant district attorney for Los Angeles County. The charges allege that Turan unlawfully accessed confidential computer data, including police officer files in 2018, and continued to use them after joining the DA's office in 2021. Ironically, Turan, who is now on administrative leave, oversaw the Public Integrity Division responsible for handling high-profile cases of police misconduct and public corruption, including the charges brought against LA City Council member Curran Price last June. To be sure, the case against Price has raised plenty of eyebrows. Indeed, one noted legal scholar has said publicly, and I quote, "Everything about this prosecution reeks," close quote. Could A.G. Bonta, with aspirations to become California governor, be punishing Turan for her role in D.A. George Gascon's police accountability agenda to curry favor with police unions? Could D.A. Gascon be using the case against Price to showcase his tough stance on crime and political corruption as he vies to retain his seat as DA? Honestly, I have no idea, but here's what I know for sure. Curran Price has been elected and re-elected by thousands of voters, mostly black and brown, who stand to be further disenfranchised if this matter is not handled correctly, which is why it matters to us at KBLA Talk 1580. When the prosecutor is being prosecuted, it seems to me that at the very least, there ought to be a thorough, top-to-bottom, independent review of all cases under Diana Turan's purview to ensure that none of these cases have been tainted. Justice and fundamental fairness demand no less, if public trust truly matters. And I hope it does. For KBLA Talk 1580, I'm Tavis Smiley. We welcome your feedback.
What if the conversation about menopause and bladder leaks didn't have to be a secret? Always Discreet helps you embrace this new chapter with confidence, offering a bladder leak solution that keeps you worry-free. Its rapid dry core quickly locks away even the biggest gushes with up to 0 leaks, 0 wet feel, and 0 odor, so you can jump, dance, sneeze, and laugh uninterrupted. Everyday protection for every level of leak. We've got you, always. Try Always Discreet today.
What's wrong?
My travel rewards card didn't earn enough miles for my vacation.
Are you crying? Are you crying because of that other credit card?
Uh-huh.
Well, switch to the Capital One Venture card. Venture lets you redeem miles on any travel purchase.
Really?
Yep, and you earn unlimited double miles on every purchase every single day. The Capital One Venture card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
The way we spend our time defines who we are. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
That's right. You're listening to Areva Martin, and I'm your special guest host, Farajii Muhammad. Thank you so much for tuning in to us here on KBLA Talk 1580. All right, let's jump into the conversation because I wanted to set that up. To have that little part to set it up, that there are so many pieces that are moving and so many things that are happening around this this moment that we find ourselves in. And I want to focus more on the Democrats because we're talking to black folks, and this dilemma, this Biden replacement dilemma, is at the top of everyone's mind as to what is going to happen. And as of right now, there is various reports that are slowly coming out to say that it looks like we're getting closer and closer to the D-Day, decision day, for the president to make his decision about whether he is going to continue, even though he is self-isolating because of his latest diagnosis of COVID. And we hope the president pulls through with that. Even they say he has been suffering just from mild symptoms. But more importantly, his political future, his political legacy is on the line. So we are getting closer to that day to determine if this president will indeed stay in the race for the 2024 presidential election. Let me bring my sister into the conversation. She is the associate professor in the School of Public Policy at the University of Maryland. She's also the author of the award-winning text, American While Black, African Americans, Immigration, and the Limits of Citizenship. And I found her work to be quite fascinating because she deals with politics. Her work is rooted in public opinion and political behavior, as she is a scholar of racial and ethnic politics in the United States. So we're happy to have her joining us here on in real time here on KBLA Talk 1580. My sister, Dr. Dion B. Carter. Dr. Carter, how are you this evening, ma'am?
I'm doing well, Farajii. How you doing?
I'm good. I am good. Thank you so much for joining us for the conversation. I've been really, really excited and looking forward to getting your take on all that's happening, Dr. Carter. Let's start with this. And then I want to get to the letter that 1,400 black women have signed and put out yesterday, and get some analysis of you from of this letter. But what do you make? Let's start off with this part of the conversation. What do you see? What do you make of the current place that we find not just the Democratic Party, but for the group of people that have upheld the Democratic Party, Black America, for so long? Mm-hmm. What do you make of this current moment that we're in?
Well, I mean, I think this is something that we see over and over again, that the Democratic Party insists on ignoring black people, in particular black women, because you remember these conversations have come up again and again over the leadership of the organization, despite what its electorate looks like. Yeah. And here we are again, where you have black women saying, hey, don't abandon ship, stay the course, close ranks, and let's do the hard work. And instead, you have a Democratic Party, and in particular, white moderates in the party, although they're not the only ones, but who've been saying, hey, you had a bad debate performance. You got to, pack it in. But when people said 4 years ago, he's too old, when people said 4 years ago, we don't know if this is the guy, you said, no, he can beat Trump. He can beat Trump, and he did. But when people raised concerns in 2020 about whether, he would seek reelection, whether Biden would seek reelection, we were sure, no, it's fine, up until June. And here they come, these disloyal turncoats. I mean, quite frankly, they look weak. It got hard, and they decided they were going to tuck tail and run, or at least try to bully this man into leaving. His age isn't a mystery to any of us. Black women definitely know this. Real pragmatic. But now you want to switch horses midstream? That's a weak move. And I think it makes them look crazy. And if you look at who is on this letter, it's almost like a who's who of black women who are doing the work. Yeah. Who are the people that are knocking on the doors and trying to convince people to vote for y'all sorry behind. And y'all are saying, the donors don't want it. Well, the donors aren't the people that vote in primaries and aren't going to be the people that show up in November.
And let's put it where the goats can really get it, Dr. Carter. The donors are going to be good either way.
Absolutely, they are.
They're going to be good. The elite of the Democratic Party, the George Clooney's and others. Yep. They're going to be good either way. Economically.
Not only are they going to be good, yes. They're going to have jobs.
They're going to have jobs.
Pelosi is older than Joe Biden, and she's still going to be in there.
You're going to have they're going to be good either way. And that's something that we can't lose sight of. And I think to your point that you're making, that the party has not done its due diligence first, and I agree with you, and you echo the sentiments brother Tavis echoed this morning, and we all knew that this day was coming. We all knew the day was coming. The writing was on the wall, and I think it was quite irresponsible. And this is not Monday morning quarterback, and it's just like now we're in a situation that, that is like get down to the wire, and now you want to, like you said, you want to switch up midstream, but we all knew this day was coming. We knew the man was older. We knew that. Yeah. We knew the man was old. We knew the man himself said he was a transitional president. He's done 50 years in Congress. He served 8 years under the first black president as vice president. We knew that. Like, his legacy was already sealed. He did beat Donald Trump. We knew that. He got the country through the pandemic. We knew that. He was able to come and deliver on some of those promises. Black women, a black woman on the Supreme Court. He got a black vice president. All of those things. We see that. We see that. But you mean to tell me at this point, at this time, now that there's concern, you're talking about maybe a few weeks before the national convention in August for the Democrats. You're talking about over a little bit over 100 days before the national election. It's crazy. Yeah. Let me just throw this out there because I know that we're gonna have to take a quick pause. But I want to just to kind of throw out there because you made this point, Dr. Carter, saying that black women, more importantly, black folks, just don't feel seen and heard by the Democratic Party. This is the letter from black women leaders and allies standing firmly and resolutely for President Joe Biden's presidential nominations. A short letter, I'm going to get through it, and then we're going to take our next pause. It says, this was dated yesterday, July the 17th. It says, Dear Democratic Party leadership, we, the undersigned black women leaders and allies, are writing to share our deep concern and dismay at the lack of unity being displayed by some of our elected Democrats and Democratic Party leadership, who are not standing firmly and resolutely for the re-election of President Joe Biden and his running mate, Vice President Kamala Harris. During the primary election process held across the country earlier this year, 14 million Americans cast ballots for President Biden and Vice President Harris. They are the duly elected Democratic Party nominees for the 2024 presidential election. We reject all efforts to disregard this fact or to circumvent the will of millions of voters who participated in a democratic process. The primaries held earlier this year were the appropriate time to challenge candidates for the nomination and press arguments about qualifications. The suggestion that any candidate who won their primary should simply step aside because victory appears difficult at the moment is disrespectful to the voters, unjust, and undemocratic. The Biden-Harris administration is running on a solid record of historic legislative accomplishments and a commitment to finish their agenda to improve the lives of all Americans, protect our rights, freedoms, and democracy. Further, we believe it is unfair and disruptive to judge President Biden for having a bad 90-minute debate performance against a serial liar who wants to destroy our democracy and be a dictator-in-chief. As the party that has relentlessly stated that this election is about saving our democracy, what better way to affirm these values than listening to the voters who chose President Biden and Vice President Harris to lead the country for another 4 years? History is a great teacher and has taught us that a divided house will fail. As black women, we are uniquely aware of the very real threat a second Trump term poses to our country and especially to our community. But this is not a moment to give in to fear. Instead, we must unify around our deep beliefs in our values and our ability to effectively engage voters and win up and down the ballot in 2024. History also reflects that black women are the most reliable voting bloc for Democrats. When black women vote in record numbers, Democrats win the White House, U.S. Senate, U.S. House, governorships, state legislatures, mayor's races, and other local races across the nation. When black women lead, organize, mobilize, encourage, and influence our families, spouses, partners, nieces, nephews, and neighbors to own their power and vote, Democrats win. I'm up against the clock. We're going to take a quick pause. When we move forward, let's get into it with Dr. Niambi Carter right here on Areva Martin in real time. Let's go. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
Areva time is the right time. More of Areva Martin in real time when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The Republican National Convention reaches its climax tonight with a speech by presidential nominee Donald Trump. The week has been unlike any other in convention history as it started right after the assassination attempt of Trump. It included the naming of J.D. Vance of Ohio as his running mate and a massive security presence throughout the Milwaukee area. All eyes will be on center stage tonight when the former president takes the podium. A nun who ran a blacks-only school in St. Johns County, Florida, is being remembered for her love for the school. Sister Josephine Marie Melican died Tuesday at the age of 88. She was the last principal of St. Benedict the Moore School in St. Augustine when it closed in 1964. The school taught black students in the era of segregation, and Melican even got to meet Dr. Martin Luther King there once. The school is now being renovated into a community center. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Drive carefully in San Dimas as an on-ramp from San Dimas Avenue on the 210 East is partially blocked, with heavy traffic that continues from Lone Hill Avenue. Accident has been cleared from the 71 South in Pomona before Holt Avenue, Valley Boulevard split. East LA's traffic is up to 35-40 minutes on the 710 South between Floral Drive and Firestone Boulevard. Diamond Bar, watch for 2 middle lanes blocked with an accident on the 57 North before Diamond Bar Boulevard.
Me and the kids were always messaging. They LOL'd, I ROFL'd, but then I changed phone and the bubbles went green. But where there's a fill, there's a way. And I found a way to share what's in here. I'm tapping my heart.
WhatsApp, the place to safely send messages between different devices. Message privately with everyone.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
What was your favorite Russell Westbrook moment with the Clippers? Think fast because he's out the door. The Clippers are trading the 17-year veteran as part of a sign and trade deal with the Utah Jazz and Denver Nuggets. Westbrook is going to Utah, where the plan is for him to agree to a contract buyout, which makes him a free agent. Part 2 of the plan is for Westbrook to sign with Denver after he clears waivers. After playing 2 seasons with the Lakers and Clippers, it looks like Westbrook will not have the opportunity to end his NBA career in his hometown, LA. Last season, Westbrook appeared in 68 games with the Clippers, averaging 11.1 points and 4.5 assists. With the departures of Paul George and now Westbrook, it's obvious the Clippers are rebuilding for the future and restructuring their roster. Whenever Westbrook decides to shut it down, he will certainly be a first-time ballot Hall of Famer. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black.
Keep following the leader.
Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Environmental justice is racial justice.
Environmental justice is social justice.
This is KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey LA, today I'm here to talk to you about Grid Alternatives, which is a nonprofit in LA that focuses on renewable energy. We serve communities who have been left out of the renewable energy sector. We offer paid job training, and in 13 weeks, you can become a solar installer. 80% of our graduates get hired into the industry, and once you're hired in the industry, you stop at a high, medium income. That could be $20 an hour or more. 80% of our graduates get hired into the industry. Call today so you don't be left out at 323-861-0105 or gridalternatives.org, gridalternatives.org.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Single Moms Planet is a nonprofit organization dedicated to uplifting under-resourced single mom business owners and working mothers nationwide. Single Moms Planet offers comprehensive programs of financial literacy, business development, mentorship, and entrepreneurial training. They provide education, accountability, and hope. Single Moms Planet was founded by model, TV personality, and producer Nefertiri Plessy. Nefertiri felt firsthand the challenges that face single moms as she was raised by a working single mother. She learned that the most disadvantaged group in the United States are single mom families. According to the U.S. Census, 30% live under the poverty line. So she decided to do something about it, along with co-founder Cole Patterson. Their goal is to end the poverty cycle in single mother households through education, opportunity, and networking, providing family and child enrichment programs for under-resourced single-parent families. Single Moms Planet serves over 10,000 single moms and their children each year. Studies show that business development and financial literacy provide a positive environment for children and families, exposing them to new possibilities and opportunities. To attend one of their fun events, make a donation, or get more information, or if you need help as a single mom, please visit singlemomsplanet.org. That's singlemomsplanet.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
There's no time like the present. Let's get back to more of Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm
This
whipping
is
now.
America, folks.
This is America.
Woo!
Don't catch you slipping now.
I'm just glad I'm in studio. I'm just glad I got my sister Dr. Nyambi Carter on the line. I'm just glad that y'all are tuning in to Areva Martin in real time here on KBLA Talk 1580. Because maybe, Dr. Carter, you can give us something to hold on to. Because this is America. I just finished reading this letter that 1,400 black women leaders and allies have signed on to show that they're standing firmly and resolutely for President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris in the presidential nomination. They're making some very salient points, Dr. Carter, about how the Democratic Party has been handling a 90-minute debate. Right? 90-minute debate, right? And how this party has been trying to play the game of catch-up at the wrong time. Now, the other part of this, and I want to get your take on this, as I want to get your take on the letter, but the other development is that now, in the midst of all of these conversations and grumblings and murmurings and whatnot, we heard the voice of George Clooney. We've heard some Democrats have publicly stood out. We've heard California's very own Adam Schiff saying that the president should step down. Nancy Pelosi. First she was, now she's like, oh, his time is running out. And then today it came out that Black America's favorite president has informed his allies, not directly to the president, but to his allies, that he should seriously, and I'm speaking of President Barack Obama, that Joe Biden should seriously reconsider moving forward in his campaign. So I just wanted to bring people up to speed on that, because you got all of these big names, you got influential folks within the party, but again, you got these even though you got the likes of a George Clooney or President Obama or a former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, that does not trump, pardon the pun, does not trump 1,400 black women who have said, let's keep the course. Or does it?
Absolutely. It seems to be, because, these are the things that happen regularly in our politics. Black women get overlooked, but then when they need us to save them in Georgia, in Alabama, in, Pennsylvania, all these places, then they want to trot us out. And it's like, but you don't listen to us. If we don't understand politics very well. We know what's going on, but black women are also very pragmatic. Our lives are the ones at stake here, right? When these Republicans are talking about deporting immigrants and getting rid of birth control and get rid of no-fault divorce and all these things, we know what the dangers and what the stakes are for us. So black women aren't just here because they love President Biden, but it's like, how do we tell people in under 3 months, yeah, listen to us this time and vote for this new person, because we ditched the other guy that we've been telling you was the guy because we didn't like how he sounded in a debate. That kind of, dealing, that waffling, that mealy-mouthness, I think is something black people really don't like. I mean, we stood by some people that we thought were objectionable. Like, we can think about mayors of various cities.
Come on, Doc.
But
It
wasn't because they were great people, right?
Right.
They've done great things for us. It doesn't mean that. And it doesn't mean that we like the misstep.
Yeah.
But we did not like the way that the system came after these people. And that's different. Black women understand what the stakes are. We know it's dangerous. We know what's going to happen if Donald Trump gets in there again. But this doesn't make sense to us. And what the Democratic Party is saying to us is that when people have enough money, then that's who they will listen to. Forget these other 1,400 women. And that's the real insult. Because in another 3 months, they'll be coming back to the well. You got to vote for us. You got to vote for us. Help us. Help us. But you don't listen to us.
So this not only is a make or break point for President Biden and his presidential campaign, but this could really be, Dr. Carter, and I'm thinking down the road here, right? I'm not just thinking 2024. I'm thinking 2026 when the congressional elections happen. This could be a make or break point for black folks and this part of the party. I'm not saying that we're going to move to the Republican Party.
Right, sure.
But at the end of the day, we may be less engaged with the Democratic Party. And back to your point, that when it does come around time for those congressional races to happen, that we may not show up just out of spite, just out of proving a point. And a lot of times, I think this is the interesting part, and I've had conversations with younger brothers and sisters about this all the time, who in a very large way, Dr. Carter, and I'm sure because of the work that you do, you see this as well, who in a very large way are saying, okay, if the worst case scenario does take place, and I've always kind of joke, I say, black folks, we went through chattel slavery. So now we did that for 400 years plus. And now we ready to jump, act as if 4 years is going to. I mean, that's the mindset that some of young brothers and sisters, the next generation, are saying, like, okay, we've gone through some tough times as a people.
Yeah. I mean, and look, and I get it. The only thing that I just say is this. We cannot always assume there's going to be another election. And that if there is another election, that the votes are actually going to count in the same way. Donald Trump said, I'm going to be a dictator on day one. And they have already made it more difficult for us to have access to the ballot in some states. And I don't know if this is the case, but from what I've seen, dictators don't usually stop liking to be dictators. And so I don't believe that once somebody sort of has carte blanche, which was sort of recently given by the Supreme Court to any president, not just the President Trump, but any president.
Right.
A Congress that has shown that they are willing, especially for their co-partisans, in large part to look the other way and turn a blind eye and really dishonor their vow to the American people and to their office, that this person is going to be stopped from doing all of these very, very scary things that he says he wants to do and that his sycophants say they want to see done. So, I can't, with all of that, I should say, we cannot muster the courage on the left to sort of say, all right, this is the horse we got.
Yeah.
We're going to line up behind him to make the point to those very same young people. Because you're right. A lot of people will reasonably say, we've gone through worse. This will end. But I don't know that people recognize that we are making that walk toward authoritarianism.
No, I agree.
Quite brazenly.
I agree.
I
want, if you could just hold on to that point you just make. I want to make sure that we hitting the clock here. But let's get on. We're going to hold on to that point and then take a quick pause. When we come forward, more conversation with Dr. Nyambi Carter. Stay with us. It's Areva Martin in real time here on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's the real deal in real time. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh, man. Looks like Bobby needs a ride to the airport again.
Grab the keys.
Who's taking Auntie and her friends to the swap meet?
Grab the keys.
How about we drop these boxes off at Miss Johnson?
Grab the keys.
Whether you're giving rides or hauling gear, you're all about getting things done. So do it all in a Chevy SUV. From the versatile Equinox and sporty Blazer to the roomy Traverse, our lineup of SUVs will carry you through every adventure. All you have to do is...
grab the keys?
That's how we do. Head to your local Chevy dealer, where well-qualified buyers get 1.9% financing on all 2024 Malibu, Colorado, Blazer, Equinox, Trailblazer, and Traverse limited models. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
1.9% APR for 36 months. Monthly payment is $28.60 for every $1,000 you finance. Example down payment 15.8%. Must finance with GM Financial. Some customers may not qualify. Not available with lease and some other offers. Take new retail delivery by 7/1/24.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
KBLA Talk 1580 invites you to join us in our climate justice campaign partner, LA City Council member Curran D. Price Jr., as we celebrate the grand unveiling of the South LA Greenway, Saturday, August 3rd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Augustus Hawkins Nature Park, 5790 Compton Avenue in the city of Los Angeles. Join us for a green and healthy festival with free food, planting activities, tree adoptions, nature walking tours, Zumba, yoga, sound baths, and more. It's summer, time to get outside. We look forward to seeing you at the dedication of the South LA Greenway, Saturday, August 3rd, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Augustus Hawkins Nature Park, 5790 Compton Avenue in the city of Los Angeles. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, LA City Council member Curran D. Price Jr. and KBLA Talk 1580.
The way we spend our time defines who we are. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Farajii Muhammad as I'm listening to my sister, Dr. Nyambi Carter, and we have been talking about this Biden replacement dilemma, and more importantly, how black women leaders and allies are standing firmly and resolutely for the president and the vice president in the midst of all of this intra-party infighting. Dr. Carter, I appreciate you so much. I wanted to give you another opportunity to finish your thought before the break as we look forward at this. Please continue.
No, I was just going to say it is hard to convince young people already that this party system is viable. I think there are a number of critiques that they have. And so sitting home does look like it makes sense because you don't have your business together. And it's a hard sell to make now. It's going to be harder when you still have third-party candidates that are in the race, right? RFK Jr. is still circling the drain. Yeah. You have Cornel West is still in the race.
Yep.
I mean, there are other people that they're saying, like, hey, I might be more interested in them because at least whoever their people aren't telling them every other day, get out the race, and starting whisper campaigns.
Right. And here's the crazy part about it. As many times as Donald Trump has lied, and I give credit to the president because he said this in his interview with Lester Holt. He said, okay, y'all have been talking about me, but nobody is really talking about the fact that that this man has lied at the debate. He said something, like 28 lies or something, and we know it's way more than that, Dr. Carter.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because if you look at the RNC, all of these past few days, and Trump is expected to deliver his coronation speech tonight. But in these past few days, the refrain has been rooted in lies. I remember listening to Elise Stefanik out of the state of New York, and she made the point, and I mean, she literally said this, that Hamas attacking Israel, Russia attacking Ukraine was because Biden was in office.
Right. Yep.
And I'm trying to figure out to myself, Dr. Carter, see, if you aren't politically astute, if you aren't socially conscious, if you aren't aware enough, you might actually believe that, which is why that type of talk is dangerous, because people are saying, oh, it's because of the president that another government in some other part of the world is behaving a certain type of way. And I know that might sound crazy, but in this day and time, people believe a lot of different things, and it doesn't always line up to logical, reasonable, or rational.
People believe a lot of wrong things, and because we have social media now, the lies can go around the world in no time, right? And the lies in some ways are more accessible than the truth, because some of these are really complicated things. So when people are saying stuff like, well, I got a stimulus check under Donald Trump. No, you got that from Congress. He signed his name on it. Right? He didn't even want you to have that stimulus check. Let's be clear.
Right.
Not to mention separating children at the border, not to mention mishandling this COVID pandemic that killed many people in our community. I mean, he was just reckless, right, with COVID-19. The fact that he has so little respect for the Constitution. Remember, the Charlottesville situation that happened when people were screaming, Jews will not replace us, and we are supposed to believe those very same people care about anti-Semitism now, right? Like, all of this stuff happened on his watch. People have very short memories, to your point, though, Farajii, right?
Absolutely.
People forget all of the things that was happening.
And Doc, let's not forget when Donald Trump, during the middle of the pandemic, at the peak of the pandemic, he advised American people to use Clorox or put bleach in them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Expose their insides to light, to very bright light. And not to mention, this man was being investigated over his ties to Russia, right? Some would argue Russia was emboldened, that they want Donald Trump to win so they can take Ukraine back, right, under Russian rule. I mean, this man, let's not forget January 6th. For people who live in the Washington, D.C. area, people who live in D.C., we were on a lockdown because of the violence that this man encouraged at the Capitol,
right,
in this black city.
Absolutely.
Right? So we have to remember, this man does not mean us any good. He is dangerous. His first time in office was a test run. That was a shot across the bow. Now he's going to have more capable people. He's going to have better people. He has a Supreme Court that is consolidated behind his power, and he has so many people in state-level government as well as this U.S. Congress willing to do his bidding. We have to know he is going to live up to the promises that he's making. He is not just whistling Dixie.
No, and I think that his choice of J.D. Vance is a testament to exactly what you said, because traditionally, if you look at if you study political science, if the person who's the president is the figurehead, the vice president serves as the one who is doing all the deal making and behind the scenes work. We see that has been the tradition. But in this particular case, you know that this is why President Barack Obama picked Joe Biden, because Joe Biden had that deep level experience to work across the aisles and to get certain things done. Trump picks a man who hasn't even completed his first year as a Congress member first. He's 39 years old. He's fresh-faced. He got some ideas. He was a harsh and vocal critic of the man down that he's serving as vice president. But none of this simply matters. And all of that the pointing out is that what we're seeing, it does not come down to truth. It does not come down to character. It does not come down to logic. This is coming down to political theater. It's coming down to political victory, a party victory. It's coming down to who can talk a good game, but not truly deliver. Because once a person is in the seat, once they get into the office, then that's when things start to change. Now, here's the question I got for you, Dr. Carter, as we close this out. And I'm so grateful that you've been a part of this conversation. What does the Kamala Harris, the Vice President Harris factor do into this? As we're looking at this letter from Black women, as the talk has been, if you are going to change in the midst of in the middle of the stream, you might as well go to your vice president. But some people would say that may not even be a wise decision, because she, even though she's quote unquote polling high right now, if Biden leaves the ticket and she is responsible to stand on her own, and then she has to choose a vice presidential running mate, will she cut the mustard? Will she hold up to really go tit for tat, one-on-one with the likes of Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance? What's your take on the Kamala Harris factor?
I think she definitely has it, but the Democrats can't do to her what they're trying to do right now, which is do an end run around her. Because what they're not saying and what they haven't answered is why the succession plan with this Black woman as the number 2 to Joe Biden, why that's not going to be okay, why that's not workable, right? Because like you said, Donald Trump has J.D. Vance because J.D. Vance is young. J.D. Vance is going to be doing the work because Donald Trump is 78. Joe Biden is not that much older than that man.
Right.
Right. So she absolutely could do it. I mean, she's been a senator. She's been an attorney general. And I don't care what people feel about her record. She's been the VP. She's been in that office. And so she has more experience governing than either of those two Republican men. So we'll see if white Democrats in particular have the stomach to put a Black woman, a Black and Indian woman, up next to this and put her at the top of the ticket. We'll see. I don't believe it, quite frankly. I think all of this about getting Joe Biden off the ticket is to get her out of the way, because they do not want a Black woman to be their first woman president.
And then the Democratic Party will be faced with another conundrum, Dr. Carter. If she's not the go-to, if she's not the go-to, and you trying to hold on to your base, which is Black women and Black men and Black folks, and she's not the go-to, then you got another problem, because you're going to have to introduce a new character in this story.
And you're going to have to do some explaining about why not.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And people have their views of her, and it's some of it's valid, some of it's not valid. But at the end of the day, this situation has just caused a major, major disruption. It's expected that the president, Dr. Carter, the president will be making a decision. Some have said that as early as Sunday, that he will be making a final decision as he isolates himself due to his COVID diagnosis, but that he's expected to make a decision by Sunday. If that happens, trust and believe, KBLA Talk 1580, we're going to be doing our due diligence, having those conversations from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all this week. We're going to do what we need to do. Dr. Neon B. Carter, it is such a pleasure and a privilege to have you joining me today for this conversation. God willing, we'll reconnect very soon. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Farajii.
You're welcome. Folks, stay tuned. More of Areva Martin in real time here on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. 7 Wichita, Kansas police officers are entitled to qualified immunity in a civil lawsuit over the in-custody death of a teenager. 17-year-old Cedric Lofton, who was Black, became unresponsive while being restrained following an altercation at a Wichita juvenile center on September 21, 2021, and he died at a hospital 2 days later. A federal judge ruled this week that 7 officers were entitled to qualified immunity, and he dismissed claims of negligence, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and negligent infliction of emotional distress. Some Dallas City Council members are critical of the speech Mayor Eric Johnson delivered